Yeah, my parents, both parents were from Jamaica. They came over here in the early 50s. And then they had me, they had my sister and my two other brothers. And we lived in Vauxhall. I don't remember living in Vauxhall, but yeah, we lived in Vauxhall, near Clapham Junction, Livingston Road. And then from there, my early memories are living in Fulham, where I was brought up. Went to a comprehensive school, Henry Compton. It was a great school. I loved going to school, wearing my school uniform. I loved wearing my school uniform. And played football there for the house, played for the school. I was the only one in my family who was sports orientated. Everybody else just didn't hate sport, so I had to do things off my own bat. I took myself to football. I remember asking my mum for a pair of football boots, and she took me to a place in Fulham Broadway, a shop called Ted Todd's. I'll never forget it. And them days, all the football boots, they would start having the low cuts just below your ankles. But she bought me a pair of football boots. They were like Stanley Matthews with a big round toe cap and it laced up over your ankle. And I was going, no, I don't want those. I don't want those. So I had to save up and bought myself a pair of Lawrence. Gosh, my memory is great. A pair of Lawrence boots, black and white they were, black and blue. And yeah, they were special to me, those boots. And then from then on, I started to wear Puma to emulate my heroes, Pele and Eusebio. And I've never worn anything else but Puma. I was quite lucky growing up. I didn't really I only experienced a couple of people shouting derogatory terms at me. But other than that, I hardly ever got taunted or abused. Mainly because I grew up with a load of white guys, you know, so they were my mates. You know, there was no colour to say like, oh, he's my white mates. They were just my mates, and they were my mates, and that was it. You know, there wasn't no colour involved at all. But as I said, if anybody did abuse me by you know, name calling, whatever, then my white friends would stick up for me and deal with the matter, and that's how I got about. I played for Kingstonians. I started my proper career with Kingstonians and Hampton and Kingsbury Town up near Wembley. But playing for, I remember playing for Kingstonians. I didn't get much. I didn't get hardly any verbal abuse from other players, and there was a little bit of banter in the home dressing room, you know, where, you know, but you just took it in your stride. You know, there was nothing meaningful about, you know, it's just something like you call it banter now. Yeah. Going up as I did in Fulham, I'd come over to Wimbledon, over to Plough Lane and watch Wimbledon play. And I always told this story about Steve Parsons. Steve Parsons was a great player for Wimbledon. He played in midfield, and he grew up in Ladbroke Grove, and he hung around with a lot of black guys. So he considered himself more black than he did white. So when I came to Plough Lane to watch them play, it was a Tuesday night game. I remember that it was very cold, and the ball came out for a throw-in near where I was stood, and Steve Parsons came to get the ball, and as he bent down to pick the ball up, it was right by me, so I just shouted out to him, "Wagwan, Steve," and he turned around and he just looked at me and went, "Irie," and took the throw-in and ran up and continued playing. That was a great moment that I liked. There was a chairman's meeting at the South Bank, and which we all attended, all the fans attended. On the way back from there, we were going to our first match at Sutton United, Gander Green Lane. So I just had the thought, AFC Wimbledon is going to be born again. So I got hold of a placard that was lying around, and on the back side of that, it was all blank. And I had a magic marker with me, so I just wrote the words, AFC Wimbledon are now born. And I knew to get the press's attention, it's got to be short and snappy. So that's what I did, and took it to the game, held it up. And lo and behold, everybody was taking photographs of myself and the placard. And that's how it came about. And then 15 years later, we were playing back at Gander Green Lane in an FA Cup match. And the night before, I thought, let's do another poster. 15 years on, so I just wrote, 15 years ago, this club weren't in the Football League, but here we are now in the third round of the FA Cup. And and that went viral as well, and I was pretty proud of that. I remember travelling around the countryside with AFC Wimbledon when we first started out, places like Ash, Sandhurst, Cove, and Farnborough, and I'd look around and, well, I wouldn't even think of myself as like being the only black person there, but now coming to Plough Lane, you look around now, you see families coming with their kids, and their little kids are now walking around proudly in their AFC tops, AFC Wimbledon shirts, saying like, oh, I want to be like this person, I want to be like that player. And it's fantastic, and it surprises me sometimes, because like you see like in Indian families, and like you don't see Indian families going to games anymore. Well, you do now, but I didn't see that when I was growing up. All I saw was like white guys and and the odd female every now and again. And like as I said, now even females are getting involved, and they're appreciated. So it's moved a long way.